Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the Calvert St. Mary's MPO Virtual Council meeting. Let's see,
Good morning.
Good morning. In attendance, we have Tyson Byrne and we have Commissioner Weems. I don't think Commissioner Morgan is on the line, is that correct? Are you there, Commissioner Morgan? Okay. So Commissioner Weems, you'll act as the council chair for this meeting, if that's okay.
That's fine.
Alrighty. Who called us to order? Is he or me?
The chair will call it.
Okay. Commissioner Weems, if you're ready, I think you can call us to order.
Yes, sir. I'm going to officially call the meeting to order. And give me a moment. I'm trying to pull up my itinerary. I apologize.
I can add that to the screen for us.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, and now it's gone. I guess let's see if I can pull it back up. My apologies to the group.
Was it? No, it is over here. Can you folks see that?
There we are.
Okay. Sorry about that.
Thank you. So as I stated, I'm officially convening the Calvert St. Mary's MPO virtual council meeting for September 24th, 2021. We have a quorum assembled. And do we have any guests or anyone that is not normally at our meetings?
Chair, this is George Clark, Tri-County Council. I do believe we have our new transportation planner, George, on the line. George, can you unmute yourself and introduce yourself?
Can people hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay, good. Can you hear me? Good. So my name is George, as George said, and thank you, George, for inviting me to this meeting, as well as Mr. Cohen. I'm originally from the Midwest, from the Chicago area, actually born and raised in Wisconsin. I just recently joined the Tri-County Council for Southern Maryland as a infrastructure planner and coordinator. So a lot of the projects that I'll be working on will be related to transportation planning, as well as other issues that are significant to the Tri-County area. Professionally, I've worked. This is my first gig as a government employee. I have previously worked as a consultant, transportation planning consultant for what was then called Parsons Brinkerhoff. It's now called WSP, but it's a consultant that did consultant work. So I have experience on the other side. This is my first time I'm working on the government side, but I'm very happy to be here and very happy to join this meeting, and hopefully it can be fruitful for everyone.
Well, let's not forget to mention that you're a graduate at University of Maryland.
That's right. I do have an MBA from the University of Maryland, and it is a fantastic university in College Park, that's for sure.
George, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
Ben, why don't you run just for the record? Ben, why don't, since it's being recorded, why don't you just read down the names of the people that are in attendance here, and if there's anybody else that's new would like to introduce themselves, we could probably hear them. Chair, if you're okay with that, would that be good?
Tyson, I am perfectly content with that. I'm technologically challenged, however. So if we could just go ahead and round robin, introduce ourselves and give titles and a 5-minute speech on, no, I'm kidding. Yes, starting with Counselor. Sir. County Attorney, John Norris, and then we can go on to everyone else.
Yes, sir, I'm here. John Norris, County Attorney for Calvert, counsel to the MPO.
Very good.
George Clark, Transportation Demand Management Specialist for the Tri-County Council for Southern Maryland.
Mara Blick Wallace, Calvert County Transportation Planner.
Bruce Honacki, Regional Planner for Southern Maryland from the MTA.
Okay, that was everyone.
I think we have
I
a,
see that there's an Erica Falk and a Sandy Wobbleton also listed as being here. In addition to myself, Tyson Byrne, I am the Regional Planning Manager for the Maryland Department of Transportation Secretary's Office. And I think that's everybody. John Dietrich is also on here. And JDJOMO, I'm not familiar with who that is.
Hi, Tyson. This is Jacqueline Jomo from MTA Capital Programming. I'm the Assistant Manager of Capital Programming, also here with Erica Falk, the Capital Analyst who reviews the TIP applications and amendments that we're here to discuss. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think that's everybody, Commissioner.
I see we also have
you
Allison
wanna take
Swindle
over?
on the line.
Yes, Allison Swift of St. Mary's County. Alice, I'm not sure if you want me to introduce you, but you there?
Yes, I apologize. I'm on the phone working on a non-public school bus issue at the same time. I'll be hanging up momentarily and you'll have my full attention, so I apologize.
Okay, thank you for joining us.
That's no problem. Quasi? Sir?
Quasi is not with us, so it's just us today.
Oh, my goodness. He's been a stalwart member all this time. Please give him my regards. Good man.
Thank you. He's moved on to a new position, so he's got some new opportunities ahead of him. So we're wishing the best for him.
Absolutely. Please give him all the members of the MPO's regards.
I will. Thank you.
So Tyson, sir,
Yes.
do you have a presentation, sir, on, or whom has the presentation for the first action item?
So when we get to the action item, I think Bruce and our capital programming people will come in to discuss the two TIP amendments. But first, we need to approve the minutes from the June 11th meeting.
Thank you, sir. Could I have a motion?
I motion that we approve the minutes, and I'll second it also since.
We have a motion. We have a second. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Very good. Thank you, Tyson.
All right.
And now we can, yes, please, sir.
Bruce, are you leading or is Erica leading this presentation on the amendment?
I surely hope Erica is.
Hi, I'm going to step in for Erica. And do you need me to share my screen to present or do anything else?
if you can, Erica, I'd like to be able to have it shared if
Right.
possible.
Tyson, you on mute? Okay.
Yeah, I can't pull it up because I'm on an iPad rather than on my actual computer that has everything else connected to. So if Ben can pull up the tip amendment, or if you guys can share the screen, your screen, I would appreciate that.
Can you guys see that okay?
Yes. Can you scroll down to where it's actually the projects?
That's the whole document, which,
Okay. Scroll up one page, so we're on that page right here. Yes. Okay, that tells you the most amount of information. Erica, it's all yours.
Okay. Hi again, this is Jacqueline Jomo, the Assistant Manager of Capital Programming here at MTA. And we are submitting an amendment to STIP page S2018-14, the Small Urban Transit System for Calvert and St. Mary County. We are increasing Section 5310 federal funding for capital and operating assistance by a total of $459,000 in fiscal year FY22. This difference in funding is based on anticipated versus actual awards. The source of funding will be used to provide operating and capital assistance, which includes preventative maintenance, 3 small buses, 4 vans, and an electronic disinfectant sprayer. For the FY22 round of awards to the nonprofit organizations, in this case, FTA is not requiring a local match. We would like to note that the proposed action amendment will not impact scheduling or funding availability for other projects in the current TIP, which continues to be fiscally constrained. If you have any questions for Erica and myself, we are open to answering them. Thank you.
Hold on, we're trying to find it.
Any questions?
Yeah, could I ask a question?
Of course.
Yeah. So hi, and I will preface the question by saying, this is my first meeting, and I don't know much about the MPO, so I'm a little bit ignorant on the subject. But could you describe in more detail about what this project is about?
Access 963.
So this is Tyson. I can tell you that so the 5310 funds are for human service transportation agencies. They apply statewide for these funds, and different areas are awarded at different points of time. So in general, this includes some preventive maintenance, 3 small buses, 4 vans, the electrostatic disinfectant sprayer. So those are the awards that were given out for this coming fiscal year, or the fiscal year 2022, which we have started right now. So we're trying to, along with some of the federal requirements because of, or not the federal requirements, but because some of the federal changes for this past year with the pandemic, they've removed the requirement of a match. So the $27,000 match that those individual nonprofits that were applying for these funds or competed for these funds no longer have to do that match. So we have to remove that match and then put that as federal funds, because it's gone to be more federal funds. And then in addition to the additional federal funds that were increased from what we were originally expecting. So there's a lot of things going on in this particular amendment, or these particular amendments right now. So that's there's a lot, but it's basically updating to reflect the actual rather than what we expected when we originally submitted the projects in the tip. So we always come back and have to adjust because there are slight variations because this is a competitive process and it's across the state, not just within the MPO. So the numbers are a guess from the beginning, and then it gets to be more exact as we go. But that's ultimately. Does that answer your question for you?
Yeah, that's definitely, and it looks like it's this is primarily for mobility assistance for the elderly and disabled. Is that correct? I'm just reading what's on the sheet then.
Yes, that is correct. They're for transportation for, like I said, human service transportation agencies that serve the disabled and elderly populations.
Okay. And just one final question, just in general, and this may be more for the county, St. Mary's and Calvert County, transportation services for the elderly during COVID, has there been a general just increase or a decrease or just no change at all during the pandemic? I was just kind of curious about that.
I believe there's been a decrease, partly because of some of the virtual appointments, doctors, and this isn't necessarily in Calvert St. Mary's MPO area. This is more statewide. There's been some virtual meetings. The elderly and disabled populations generally aren't the most tech savvy, so it's not as much of a decrease as probably some areas, and their needs have continued. But I do believe there has been a decrease in that transportation. But with that decrease, there's also still the need for funding and needing to help these populations even more, because they're probably have been disproportionately affected by some of this, by the pandemic itself.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Bruce, do you have any specific, or can you confirm what I was just saying?
Yeah, Tyson, what you said is correct. As far as the transportation, during the COVID era, there weren't too many places that were open for people to really go either, which affected the transportation side. But as usual, the need is there, and as things open up, the funding is definitely needed.
Did I just cut you off?
Thank you, Bruce. Any further questions?
Yes, I have a question. This is Allison in St. Mary's County. And I apologize, I may be a little behind in this. What agencies are we having these discussions with? And I ask because, for lack of better terminology, I feel as though there are several nonprofit organizations out there that have essentially dumped a lot of the riders that they could or would transport onto STS. And while I realize we are probably the larger entity, I also realize that there are a lot of driver shortages that are affecting us as well. So I guess I'm wondering, and I see the ratio and where the funding is coming from, but are they really using I guess, all of the available funding to them and the resources that are available to them in a maximum capacity? Or is it something where, oh, okay, that's available, but it's just easier for us to do and hand it off to transportation? And has that been looked at? Has that been considered? Is that a part of this?
That is not, I mean, that's not a general, something that's been looked at wholeheartedly and tried to have an analysis done of what that effect is. But I will say over the last decade, there definitely has been a shift from a lot of these human service transportation agencies and putting more requirements on the local transit systems to cover those rides. I mean, I know anecdotally in where I live in Howard County, there's been a drastic shift in some of that because of different federal regulations or shifting in the Fed's guidelines on how things are going, and that they are taking advantage, these nonprofits, to have their clients actually be riding or being covered by the transit system's services rather than actually having to provide the services themselves. So I know there has been a shift, and as money gets tighter and tighter, they try to push more and more into the transit systems themselves, which is a large part as to why there's been a rise in traveler training and a big growth in the federal funding of training travel trainers and trying to get more travel trainers out in the area. So they're getting people off of the paratransit systems and into the transit systems themselves. But in a smaller county that doesn't necessarily have a fixed route transit system, these paratransit systems usually cover that service, and so yes, it's all falling into the paratransit services requirements. I don't know. I mean, the part of what could be looked at in this analysis when you do, or when the Human Service Transportation Coordination Plan, and I butchered that acronym. I don't think I got all of the. There's this plan that has to be done every 4 or 5 years that should be looking at some of that stuff and looking at the coordination aspect. But Bruce, what's the Human Service Coordinated Transportation Plan? That's it, right?
That's it.
So I know the larger MPOs are required to work with the state on that, and the state does develop them. I believe. Allison, you may want to look to see if you can get a copy of that for the most recent one from Bruce or MTA.
Yes, thank you. And I don't mean to discredit the need. I understand there is the need, and we want to help as many people as possible. But it's not beneficial when smaller organizations are just. And I may be out of line here, but just kind of throwing their hands up and saying, oh, well, we can't handle this right now, so let's pass it on, where we cannot continue to absorb that much. We need the assistance from these other nonprofits to really make the system as a whole function.
I agree.
Sorry to interrupt everybody. I just wanted to let you guys know that Commissioner Morgan has been able to join us on the line. So,
thank you. Commissioner Morgan?
Mr. Williams?
You're the chair, sir. I'm the lowly vice chair. If you want to please command your, shall we say, authority.
Okay.
And if, go ahead, sir, please.
Chair,
And
this
if-
is Tyson.
Yes,
At this point in time, we are about ready. We need to actually make a motion to approve this. We've had some discussion sort of out of practice. So I will motion that we approve the STIP amendment that we've got in front of us for the, what is it? The Small Urban Transportation System, Calvert and St. Mary's County Transit.
We have a motion on the floor. I will second it. And Commissioner Morgan has texted me and conveyed that he can barely hear, but he is in approval as well. So all those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? The motion carries. All right. Council approval of an amendment to the Calvert St. Mary's MPO FY 2021-2024 Transportation Improvement Program, TIP, that reflects a change to federal and state funding for the Small Urban Transit System, Calvert St. Mary's County Transit Project, TIP ID number S-2018-14.
Well, I think we just did that. I think the presentation was first and I jumped right to the,
I'm sorry, Tyson. Do we have other business or discussion items? None being heard. We can go to public comment.
Commissioner
Are there
Morgan, do you have
any
any other
speakers?
business?
I have no other business. Thank you very much.
All right. Any speakers for public comment today?
Dial 1235.
Give me one moment, I'll check.
Before I call for an adjournment, was
Ms. Young,
that,
do we have any public comment?
yes, please. Yes, please,
Thank you.
please.
We've had no callers at this time. Thank you.
Okay. So our last business item today is adjournment. Tyson, would you make a motion, sir?
sorry, I had a muting problem. I motion for adjournment.
I'll
Second.
the motion.
All those in favor, say aye.
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 We're officially adjourned. Thank you all for joining. Have a great week.